everybody, and welcome to another episode of My Become Unstoppable. But today's a little different because I have a guest on today called Dan Rusco, but he's actually a client of mine. So this is a client testimonial, Unstoppable. For Dan to join, he is a super guy, and like I say, we met in our business group. And he came to work with me. Hi Dan, here he is.
Hi.
Thank God it works.
You all right? Yes, definitely, definitely. Technology's on our side today.
It is. I was just saying to everybody that we met in Gold Circle, and you asked to come and work with me. And I was just saying that this is a client Unstoppable testimonial, but we will also get to talk about your business too. So let's hope everyone stays online. We've got Hannah on here already. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
And hopefully we'll have more joining too. But don't forget, the video will be sent out anyway, so people can watch it at a later date.
Wicked,
so, Dan,
wicked.
It's exciting. Dan was saying to me this is the first time he's done an Instagram live. And I'm quite privileged actually, because there's probably most of my guests, it's been their first Instagram live, so it is quite special for me that I've got all these Instagram virgins. So Dan, let's get down to business. So do you want to just give a brief overview of what you do as your business and generally in life, and then we'll just go into talking about why you come to work with me?
Yeah, that's great. So, hi everyone, I'm Dan Rusco, and I'm the founder of an award-winning kitchen and cleaning brand, which I started from scratch during COVID. But that's not kind of what I've always done. I've always been in business. I've had multiple businesses over the past kind of 12 years. But my career started in the healthcare sector as a paramedic. So I've been a paramedic for many years, for 12 years, which I've absolutely loved and thoroughly enjoyed. But I've always had this kind of entrepreneurial spirit inside of me, which I think a lot of it comes from my parents, and especially like my dad and my mum just putting their hand to anything, which was absolutely fantastic. And I always wanted to do something different. So through COVID, I closed one of my other businesses, as we sold the company and sold elements of it. And then I wanted to move into something else. I had the itchy feet. So that's where Kitch Tool kind of came alive. But for me, in business mindset is really, really important. And being in our Gold Circle training, being in business mentorship programs, and having lots of different coaching and mentoring over the years, I've realized how important mindset is, not just for me personally in life, but also in business. And I recognised the gaps that I had, and actually it was me and you that were at a business seminar together, and I just happened to mention to you that I'd had like 3 years of psychotherapy and counselling and different things from childhood, that I got bullied through school. I had a lot of different issues when I went through school, through bullying and stuff like that. And I believed that I'd got over them. I believed that I'd got through them and that I was a stronger person, which I am. I'd learned to deal with them, is the terminology that I think I said to you. And you said to me, but Dan, you can be unstoppable. You can be unstoppable, and you don't have to live with just having to deal with it or having to get used to it. So that's kind of where the conversation started. And
I forgot about that.
You planted that seed in my head, and I just thought, no, actually, there's something here. And having done hypnotherapy before, having done other complementary therapies, psychotherapies, and all those different things, I was very open to the idea, to be honest. So yeah, I jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, I forgot that. That was, yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, I remember saying to you, didn't I? Yeah, you don't just have to live with it, because we can eradicate it.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I do, isn't it? Do you want to talk through just a very high level, without telling any secrets about yourself that you don't want to say, obviously, because it's very private, but on the very face of it, what symptom, if you like, did you want to work on when we got together?
So I've got to a point in my career where I kind of want to step away from my paramedic career as such, and I really want to go fully invested into business. My family are very involved in my business. I absolutely love business. I'm so passionate about business. but there's always been this thing in my mind, and it stems back from school, and we learned through kind of the whole process that probably about the age of 7 to 9 is kind of when it kind of came in for me, was that I worry so much about, or I did worry about what people thought of me.
Right,
and it was a subconscious thing. Pardon?
I like that quick change of terminology. I used to.
Yeah, definitely. I subconsciously and consciously at times, I always used to worry about what people thought. And a lot of the time it affected me, a lot of the time it didn't. It depended on the circumstances, and there was no real control over it. And like I said, I learned to deal with it. I didn't get over it. I didn't tackle it. I spent a lot of money for 3 years with people like psychotherapists and counsellors to try and learn and understand it and treat it. And I invested thousands of pounds in myself to kind of learn that, to be a better person, to be a better business owner, to be better in my career. It was really good for me as a paramedic to have that. And to be honest, I recognised that I needed to get over that, and having that conversation with you. So it was very much, in order for me to excel in my career, in order for me to really become to the top of my game and be where I want to be, I needed to get over that hurdle of worrying about what other people thought. But there was also the other element that I had dreams, I had ambitions. I thought I had these real big goals and things that I wanted to achieve, and set myself a real high bar. And obviously, as we'll learn through this, things change. Things have changed, and it's phenomenal how just in one session, obviously your sessions are like 6 weeks, but how in one session, sitting with you and going through this unstoppable process, I genuinely feel unstoppable. And it's got to a point where no matter what challenges I have, I can get over them, because in 3 years of other support and things that I couldn't achieve, you've done in 6 weeks. And I won't say that it stops at 6 weeks, because obviously that continues on afterwards, which I'll probably go into a bit more detail a little bit later on. But yeah, it's definitely, it was the mindset thing for me that I understood was so important in business, that actually not only do we need to work on our business skills, but we need to work on our mindset, and investing in that was so important.
So what Dan's kind of saying there about the process, so my packages, if you like, work on kind of like a calendar month in a way. So when people sign up with me, like in Dan's instance, I think we agreed we was going to work on confidence, I think, wasn't it? It might have been procrastination, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was more confidence, I think, than anything. Yeah.
So what I do is, once my client signed up with me and we were in agreement, we decide on how many packages they need. But some people only need 1, some people 2, maybe 3, not normally more than that. But what I do is integrate coaching into it as well. So I don't really coach anyone until they've been through this unstoppable process at least once, because you need to clear your mindset of something. No one's perfect. No one's completely mindset free of issues. And if they are, they don't need coaching probably anyway, because they'd go and get on with it themselves, wouldn't they?
Yeah, definitely.
So like so what happens is, you sign up and you do, depending on what package you have, we have a session beforehand, an hour and a half, where we go a deep dive into your areas of concern, and we do like a holistic look around your whole life, really, in terms of relationships, finances, career, and all that good stuff. But then we book the actual session, the actual rewire session, which takes 2, 3, 4 hours.
I think we were there for 3.5, 4 hours. I think obviously we had a bit of a chin wag as well, but
and chat at the end. But but it really is like half a day, really, time you've incorporated all of that. But when I'm in a therapy room, unlike talking therapy, which I am not dissing, by the way, because I am a trained counsellor, I've done that in a previous life. So just out there before anyone gets angry with me, I love it. It's all got its place. However, now I know what I know and what I do, I believe it takes it to another level.
Yeah.
So what I do is using hypnosis, but it does use all the other modalities though, CBTs, all the psychotherapists, NLP, but it's a process. It's the way we do it. So what we're doing is we're tapping into the subconscious mind to uncover the root cause of your symptoms, which could be quite a few things, but the root cause might be the same. So once we identify it, we eradicate it, and then we do the rewire process, the realignment, where I do your recording, which you then listen to 3 or 4 weeks, which is where that time span comes in.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that, which could be 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, then we have another get together where we do some more coaching, and we go and review where you were, what's going on for you, and where you are now. And that's where the timeline can be. But you had immediate results, didn't you, sitting in that therapy session that you took away with you and started, well, wowing everybody, in all fairness, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, do you know what, some of the comments I can see in the list here, we got some people on that are from our followers, so thanks very much. I've noticed, like, I came into the sessions thinking I knew what it all stemmed from, what all my not necessarily my anxieties, but confidence and things like that, where it kind of stemmed from. And to be honest, in the session, it uncovers stuff that you didn't even know, because it's within the subconscious. And that's what fascinated me so much, being a paramedic as well, and being in the healthcare sector, and that kind of evidence-based space. I was really interested in that, and I even said to you, just like, talk to me, tell me all about it, I want to know more about it. And I think for me, I did have those immediate effects. After having the first session, I was literally on a high for weeks. The confidence I had in myself, the confidence just generally just went through the roof. I think that first week after having the call, the session with you, I'd always been wanting to start a YouTube channel in another area of business that I was working in, and I went straight on. I recorded the first video, and in that first week I'd recorded 3 videos for YouTube, because the confidence issue wasn't there. I didn't care what other people thought, not from a, how do I explain it, not from an arrogant point, not from an arrogant or a sarcastic or anything like that. It was more just that I had confidence in myself.
You knew you was enough by this point, didn't you?
Yeah, I believed in myself, I loved myself, and I knew I was enough. And I genuinely felt in those few weeks unstoppable. And now, for me, I think, I'm sure people have very different experiences. Sorry, the light's probably a bit funny because I've got sunlight coming through the roof.
Sure.
But everyone probably has different experiences, but for me, for those first kind of 3 weeks, I was absolutely on a high, and I had people approaching me saying, "Oh my God, what has Julia done to you?" Do you know what I mean? Because
me asking me what I'd done to them.
Yeah, honestly, it was insane. It was really, really good, and I learned a lot about myself. But one thing that we have to remember with these types of therapies, if I can call them therapies, is that they continue. They don't stop when you've had the session. They continue on. So in my own subconscious, in myself, I was working on myself. I was obviously listening to the recording afterwards for, is it 30 days afterwards? And I've listened to it subsequently after. Or was it 2 weeks? I can't quite remember.
21 days /
21 days.
You can keep doing it as long as you want, really. The longer the better, really.
Yeah.
Minimum 21 days.
I think I did it for, I'm sure I did it for about 30 days, and then afterwards I've just picked it up and listened to it now and again. But through that period, you learn so much about yourself, and things start changing, or you have different sparks in your mind that you thought, where has that come from? Do you know what I mean? But the confidence is there to just believe it and go with it. And I would say, for anyone who is having confidence issues, anyone who's having anxiety, or any difficulty, whether it's physical, mental, psychological, social, this doesn't just change the thing that you think is going on. This actually transforms so many areas of your life. And I had that such high, but for me, I actually went to a point of low. So one of the things that you teach, one of the things that you taught me through the process, and also that you reassured me through the process, was that through that 6-week period, or through, I think it's the 4 weeks afterwards, or however long it was exactly, you provide that support afterwards, and you sent me the messages, and we had chats and check-ins, wasn't it, really? And I don't think I utilised that enough, because I felt unstoppable. I felt unstoppable. I felt this change of being unstoppable. And sorry, you'll have to excuse my little dash hand's just jumped up on my lap. I told you he'd come in the video. Probably.
No, he's cute. I've got my Great Dane down here, so I'm not going to put him on my knee.
yeah, definitely. So I'd learned to become unstoppable, and so for me then to hit this low point, I was like, what is going on? And at those points, I should have reached out to you because we could have worked through them.
Yes.
I should have done, and I recognise that. But actually, it was a really good process for me. I had lots of things going on at that time anyway, moving house, business bits, different things going on. And I wanted to work through it. I had the confidence to work through it. And do you know what? For once, whenever I've had difficulties before, I've always thought to myself, oh, I might pop back to my counsellor. I might pop back to my therapist or whatever and speak to them and just get some support. Because for me, I see complementary therapies as my therapy. It's weird, like where people would say go to a spa day or something like that. For me, it's very different. You know what I mean? I see going and speaking to a therapist or a counsellor or something like that as a therapy for me. And so I get so much from it, but I also see my wider family get so much from it as well, and my friends. So for once, I didn't think to myself, I need to go back to my counsellor, I need to go back to a therapist, or I need to go and see someone, because I felt unstoppable. Wow. Although I'd hit this low point, although I'd hit this point where I was working through things in my own mind, I felt I could do it. I genuinely felt that I could do it. And I knew that it was a process. And we'd already talked through it quite a lot, I think, to work through that process and understand that there will be peaks and troughs. But I think one of the biggest things for me that I recognised, which I found quite difficult initially, was all those things that I thought were important for me in life really weren't. And so I had these big things in my head, these big financial figures of what I wanted to achieve and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. But actually, it was so much smaller than that. It was so much smaller than that. And that's why I've actually found a newfound love and a newfound passion in my brand, in my business, which is humbling for me, but hopefully that's going to shine through and pass through to my customers, the people who work with us, everyone, because it's so much more. It is so much more than just a business. Do you know what I mean? There's passion behind it, and with it being family orientated as well, there's that element to it as well. So the smaller things in life now mean a lot more to me than they probably did before. But I can 100% say that I feel unstoppable, and I don't have. I'll be walking down the street. It's weird. I'll be walking down the street, or I'll be walking somewhere, and it'll come into my head. And I think I said this to you the other week. It doesn't really make sense. I'll just say to myself in my head, I feel unstoppable, and I don't know why it comes up. I don't know whether it's I don't know whether it's a subconscious thing that's triggered that, but actually my mind is rewired in a way that actually I don't even recognize that thing that has made me feel uncomfortable because I feel unstoppable. Oh, so
I love it.
It's been phenomenal, and I would say at times it wasn't easy, and I don't think learning stuff about yourself in this way and coming over these challenges that you might have had for many years is going to be easy. But what was easy was the process of not just going to a session, having a session and worrying about what's going to happen next. It was, I know I'm going on to a program that's for 6 weeks that is going to support me through this program and support me through this process, but give me the end result. And obviously I'd read some of your testimonials, I'd spoke to some of the people you'd worked with as well, and hearing their result at the end of it, of not just having to live with it and get you to that next step, was so much. I just thought I had to give this a go. So it's been fantastic. And that mindset element of my business in the past couple of months has completely transitioned, which is great.
And it's been such a joy working with you. And I asked Dan and I sat down, and I needed to do some business work in terms of how I package my business up. And because Dan knew how we've been trained, but also having been through the process, it was easier for him to help me with that. And you really made me understand more, didn't you, how important the after part, you know, the rewire session, the actual session can be so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got literally had people walking out my therapy room that couldn't walk before when they went in there, right? So it can be absolutely powerful there and then as you walk out, but it's that rewire bit. And I was trying to explain it to someone the other day, you know, like on your mobile phone or your PC, you have your software and you get the software update. And you have to upgrade it, otherwise your PC doesn't work properly and it gets sluggish, or your phone doesn't work properly and it keeps stopping. It's the same for us, right? But what we have to remember is, because we create most of our belief systems when we're children, like 0 to 7, or even in the womb, right? We're running on those beliefs. So we're making decisions in our lives, in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, on a belief we created when we were 5 years of age. Who does that? That just does not make any sense whatsoever, does it?
No, right? I know, it's mad.
Why would you do that? So when people are having an anxiety attack or lacking in confidence or panic attack or something like that, it's not really about what's happening right now. What it's doing, your brain's going straight back to a time and a place and event which did cause you grief. So what we do in the session, we go back to that scene, and it may well be scenes that you know already. And by a scene, I mean a memory, something that happened. But what we do is we look at the feelings and emotions that are attached to that scene, and we take them away. We don't take the scene away. We don't wipe your memory of it, but we detach that feelings and emotions to it. And that's why it works, because we've identified it. And in a lot of cases, it's, I'm not good enough, I felt different, I didn't have my needs met, I felt unlovable. And I think yours was, I didn't feel good enough, if I recall, because that's the most common one. And I'll tell you what, Dan, and that's what I love, right? When I get a client and they go, and they fill the form in and I've ticked every single box possible, right? And they go, oh my God, that's like terrible. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, I already know what it is. Or probably, you know, because I know, well, that's I'm not good enough. I think they felt different. You know, so already I've already sussed it out. So
definitely.
It doesn't overwhelm me if people tick loads of boxes, because I know that if it might mean when I'm talking to them about how many sessions, they might need to go for the longer term package because they've got so many issues that need to resolve. But that's the beauty of it. And what we don't do is sit and talk about your story and give that more credence, do we? We don't. I go, what is the story? These are the things I need to know. A little bit about your childhood, just understanding your demographics helps. Because I think, oh, okay, so I'm not saying this is your story, Dan, but say like the dad left when I was 5, mum got a new boyfriend, didn't like him, and straight away I know, okay, they felt rejected, unloved. Dad didn't want me, mum wasn't interested, you know, and all that, and it just builds up, and straight away we get to the root cause of I'm unlovable, and then we get rid of it.
And I think that's so common in people, but we tend to suppress it, don't we? Rather than kind of dealing with it or managing it, we think that we can just suppress it, or we think we found the coping mechanism to deal with it. And I've always gone through life, having had lots of different therapies, thinking that actually learning to deal with it is fine. Learning to deal with it is absolutely, and it is fine. It's absolutely fine for people, because you find your own strategies and coping mechanisms. But it wasn't until I had my session with you and we worked through things to help me take myself to the next level, to help me progress in my career, but also personally, that I realized that I could eradicate it. Now, when I say eradicate it, like you said, it wasn't that those memories have gone at all. I think a lot of people have a perception of maybe hypnotherapy or hypnosis and those sorts of things, that you lose that lack of control. Now, one of the things that I find so unique with RTT and rapid transformation therapy is one of the tiny elements of the things that you use in your sessions is that you still have full control. So I didn't feel like I was being hypnotized, because it's almost like a form of hypnotherapy, isn't it? But you have full control. I was talking to you. I was lying there. I was talking to you, and it felt like I had full control. I still had full control of what was going on. But I remember one element in the therapy session where we burst out laughing because you asked me to name that person, and I named it some really ridiculous name. I can't even remember what it was. And I just said to you in the set, like, where did that come from? Like, I don't even know anyone with that name, and I don't know why I've named them that name. But I remember there was a bit of a difficulty because I couldn't get rid of him. And he was being a pain in the butt. But it was fine. Like, worked through it, got through it, but it was just amazing how the subconscious has so much control over your consciousness. And I find that fascinating. Now, I understand people probably find that scary. Some people find their subconscious mind scary. Some people find all signs of therapy scary. But what it does for me is it educated me more about myself, more about my life, but also about other people. So there's so many other things that you get just from learning about the type of support and therapy and you do you know what I mean? You don't just give people a complementary therapy for one or a type of therapy. You make them unstoppable, which is, I don't think I know of a career. Like, people say to me as a paramedic that, oh my God, that's such an amazing job. What an amazing career to have. You save lives, all those sorts of things. It's very different to what people think it is. And yes, I am very humbled by being a paramedic, but to do what you do must be so humbling, because you enable people to get rid of some of their biggest fears and their biggest challenges to become unstoppable. And I think for you to be able to, I can categorically say that you help people become unstoppable, because I've experienced it, and I'm so excited to see what's to come and what's to happen. And I've even seen the changes in the past couple of months of what's happened since the sessions, and it's so lovely because we're on the similar journeys as well, so we get to share it with each other. And I think what you're doing here, actually sharing these experiences with people and being open, honest and transparent about people's experiences, the challenges they go through, but actually how easy it can be. When I say how easy, I understand it's not easy for everyone, but how easy it can be to get what you want or to be who you want to be.
It is, and that's the thing, because people, everybody, we've kind of been led to believe that the mind is so complicated and everything's so tricky. And don't get me wrong, wouldn't say, you know, obviously if you're a brain surgeon, it's very complicated, right? But the fact is, we have those handful of root beliefs that attach to all those different symptoms. But I think it's important for everybody who's watching this to understand that when we don't release our feelings and emotions, we hold them somehow in our body, right? So that can be in anxiety, stress, overwhelm, procrastination, lack of confidence, blah, 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 all the mindset stuff. But we also hold them in our bodies, right? So when you've got this continual pain in your shoulder that you can't release, that's likely to be holding. I did a session recently with someone, and we RFPI'd it, role, function, purpose, intention, to get rid of this pain in their shoulder. At the same time, they had this horrific pain in their stomach. At the same time, I had one client who just couldn't stop crying, and it was all in her chest, and it was like an exorcism when we got rid of it. And it was like, you could just feel the energy in the. She went, "It's gone," and I went, "Oh no, I felt it." Yeah. You know, it was just so powerful. And you know, to your point, I just absolutely love it, because I do. I mean, I spent 35 years in the corporate world, not particularly I'm not saying my whole life was awful forever, but probably a lot of it, right? But now I get up every day knowing that I've either got a client or I'm booking a client or doing something, and I'm transforming their lives. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that, really. And watch, you know, the likes of you just thrive on it and watch your journey. And obviously I get to watch yours a little bit more maybe than I might someone else's, but it literally makes my heart melt. And when I get the testimonials and stuff, sometimes I'm just in tears of happiness because it's making me well up now, because it's just so lovely to see. I'm going to hold it together, Dan. I'm going to hold it together. I'm not going to cry.
Do you want a tissue?
But listen, Dan, thank you so much for telling everybody about this. And we have been on half an hour already. We haven't even spoken about your kitchen tool. So come on, get your bit in here. This is for you.
Well, actually, I think it links really well. And one of the reasons why I think it was important for me to do a live with you surrounding this is because part of the cleaning community really on social media and on Instagram is so heavily open, honest and transparent about mental health, about supporting each other. And one of the things that we noticed with this was through COVID, the cleaning community on Instagram and the area there was just phenomenal. The amount of support, because obviously cleaning releases endorphins, it helps people. It's a big activity that people use to help them get over that overwhelm or confidence or anxiety, and they can really zone into themselves and do something good for themselves. And that's why I think it's really important for us to have this conversation on here, because I've got such a good, amazing community of people, our customers, our followers, who are within that community and talk openly about therapies, mental health, that sort of thing. And I wanted to be open and honest, one, to my community, because I'm very much a supporter of that, having a career as a paramedic, but going through it myself. I'm not saying that I've had difficulties in my life, in the sense that I've had a very, very good upbringing. I've had a very, very good career and stuff like that, but it's good to recognize the challenges of people. So one of the, as I said before at the start, like, I'm the founder of Kitchtool, which is a kitchen and cleaning product-based brand. And I did say we're award-winning, and what links so nicely
double award-winning, I think, darling.
Double award-winning, yeah. One of the things that links so nicely to this is one of the reasons we won the award through COVID with Prestige Awards was because of our link with supporting people through COVID and through that period with just checking on people, seeing how they were, the mental health side of things, the support, the community, the love for each other within that community. But one thing I can say is obviously being unstoppable. With Kitchtool, we've got so many exciting things to come. And this year I am super, super excited of what's to come, because we've got new products being launched. And within the last 2 weeks, we've had confirmation of so many amazing things, and one of them is getting into I can't quite launch it yet, but a high street store, a big retail chain, which we've been approved in, which is absolutely fantastic. We've also launching an affiliate program, which is where people can get involved and join on. And we've got some absolutely amazing followers and people on social media who have jumped on that and are part of that, which I'm super excited to get going and launch. And then we've got at least 2 to 3 new products this year being launched, which is absolutely phenomenal. Wow. And I've got the confidence to be able to do it. Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be an unstoppable year. It really is going to be an unstoppable year. And I want to take our customers, our followers on this journey with us, because they are the journey. Do you know what I mean? They're the people that make Kitchtool what it is. I was looking through the numbers the other week, and I totted up the numbers, and I like to keep a total of how much waste we've reduced. So a part of our ethos at Kitchtool is that we help customers reduce the amount of waste they produce from everyday consumables. So things like sponges, things like foil in the oven, those sorts of things. So we try to put a sustainable alternative in place in order to help people with that waste. And just from our sponges alone, since we've been open around 3 years, just from the sponges, we've reduced our silicone sponges. We've reduced around 9 tons of harmful plastic waste going into the ocean and landfill, wow, which is just phenomenal. And that hasn't come from me. That's come from all of the customers, all the followers, all the people that buy the products. And it is so humbling to know that what we're doing is not only helping customers save money, it's not only helping just people with the products they buy, but we're actually helping the environment as well, which is so important in today's world. And I just love that it's not a business where I'm selling products to people. It's a journey. it's a journey, it's a family, and it's an ethos. It is generally an ethos. So I absolutely love it, and thanks to you, and thanks to obviously the support that you've provided and things like that, it's helped on that unstoppable journey. And I'm sure if any of our clients or followers or anyone who's watched today wants to kind of hear more or get involved, I am a walking testimonial for Julie. So yeah, just reach out to her, because she's phenomenal in what she does. She's got a lot of experience, she's got a lot of expertise, and I'm sure there's probably more that we can do with each other down the line, and more that we can get involved in, because I know there's a lot you can really give to our community and support our community.
Love
so
that.
yeah,
Love that.
thank you.
Oh, thank you, darling. And just on a little footnote about thing that I did for you, right? Remember, anyone who comes to work with me, I facilitate your change. You do the work. And I don't work with anyone who's not 100% ready to change. And I think that's important, because it has to come from you, from within, doesn't it? And if you don't do the work and you don't do the recording and you can't be bothered to do all the stuff that I teach you, then there's no point. So to get the results, you have to put the work in. But I'll be there with you, holding your hand, and I just use my intuition of what you need, and we get there, don't we? And it's
yeah,
exciting.
definitely. Yeah. I don't think anything good in life is not easy, is it?
No.
And I enjoyed the process, although it was hard at times. I enjoyed the process, because I like to learn about myself and I like to learn about others. And if I learn more about me, I learn more about other people. And so that's what I found interesting. I think if people are struggling through the process, I think looking at it from an educational point of view, well, what am I learning about myself? What's changing that I can learn from? And what does it give me that I can help other people with? Really just helps you move through it. Like listening to a recording I think I listened to it morning and night for the month. It's difficult. It's a routine, isn't it? But once you get into that routine, you're absolutely fine. And hearing someone tell you that you're unstoppable to start with, and hearing someone tell you things that you've believed for so many years are not true about yourself, it's difficult. But it soon switches. It soon switches.
It's amazing how it does that, because it's really hard to describe how it works, isn't it? One day you feel, next day you just don't feel like that anymore. It's just God. It's very weird.
And that is a challenge in itself. And that's why the aftercare is so important. And why you do hit those peaks and troughs. And I'm sure people go up and down daily. I kind of didn't. I was on the super high, and then I dropped quite low, and then slowly inclined again. And some of my clients are like that, and then they just plateau. But with the aftercare though that I offer during that process, that's the whole point. They contact me and they go, "Oh, this is going on," and we talk about it, and then they go, "Oh yeah, no, you're right, it's all right, isn't it?" Or I've got a whole bucket load of tools and techniques that I give out to people now, which I didn't have so much when we worked together, but another tool that will help you get over that situation. So I had one recently, and she messaged me in a bit of a panic, and then when we had the call, it wasn't nearly as bad as she thought. And then I pointed out, well, you used to do this, you're not doing that anymore, and you used to say that, you don't say that anymore. And she was like, yeah, all right then, thanks. Bye. So it was all good. But that's the point. That's what I'm there for, to help you through that bit, and that's the element of the coaching part as well. And depending on what package people buy, you get additional hours of coaching, and then we do different things. We do like teach you how to use your intuition, how to think about your goals and visions without your ego and that but getting in the way. I want to do that, but I can't do that, and none of that. Let's just see what you really, really, really want to do, and then work out how you can do it. So. Yeah, and I think there's there was one main element that kind of brought several in for me, wasn't there? There was several different things that kind of came under that one umbrella of confidence, really.
Yeah.
But there's other areas which I would like to work on later down the line. Do you know what I mean? And I think for me, it's important to always keep working on yourself. It's important to always keep developing and progressing and learning more about yourself. So although I've done one session with you that has eradicated those confidence issues, and I feel a lot more confident and feel unstoppable, there's other areas that I probably want to tap into later down the line, which we've talked about and stuff. And I think it's important for people to recognise that sometimes it does take a little bit of time. Sometimes you need to break it down a bit. And for me, that's okay, because the one thing I wanted to achieve first, I've done, ticked it off.
Yeah,
I can move on.
absolutely. And that's a very good point. And some people want to go straight into the next one. Some people want, like you, want to embed it and
Yeah,
let that settle. And that's absolutely fine too, you know?
yeah,
But we can do it on weight, we can do it on addictions, we can do it on physical conditions, everything, because it's all connected to the whole, you know, mind, body and soul, literally. It's all
yeah,
connected. And that's why now I start with teaching every client now, I teach them the breathing technique so that they can start regulating their body. So you can, you know, that's where it all starts. So anyway, Dan, we have now been, it's now 5:10. Can you believe that? I hope when I post this, it doesn't just stop. But
I can waffle. I'm
you have
sorry, I can waffle.
not waffled. I've really enjoyed it. Me and you have
Yeah,
enjoyed it. Whether everyone else has or not, I think they have, because we've been seeing some lovely comments in here.
yes,
But
yeah,
thank you guys for watching this live, and thank you to everybody who watches this afterwards. I do apologise for the length of it, but stick with it. There's no more point me saying this at the end, is it really? It's like, well, I've already turned off. But hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to work with me, then please get in contact with me. If you want to know more about what Dan's doing, then get in contact with Dan. But please just start following us both, because this is what it's all about. It's gaining our visibility, getting our followers up so that we can start sharing what we both do. So thank you so much, darling. Love you loads, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Thank you,
yeah.
guys. Take care.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Bye.